I'm Laura, I'm a photographer and I have self-published an independent skateboard magazine. I had been a part of a growing skateboard community of women in Nottingham when I lived in Nottingham, and I just really wanted to give something back, and there was no exposure of women in the other magazines that you would get in the skate shops, apart from the odd advert or maybe small interview. But it was, you know, out of, I think one day I picked 6 magazines up and there were 3 instances of women being in any of these magazines. So what I wanted to do was use the people around me in the UK to get their photos, their stories, their accomplishments, and celebrate the women in the skate scene in the UK. So that's kind of how it came about. And in terms of actually putting the magazine together, I had to learn how to use InDesign and figure it out by myself. I got into skateboarding when I lived in Brighton, so 5 years previous to putting the magazine together when I was in Nottingham. And it was an ex-boyfriend of mine was a downhill longboarder, and I got a longboard because of him, and it didn't take very long to realise that I didn't like going downhill very fast, and I wasn't graceful enough to pirouette and dance around on the seafront on it. So I moved over to a normal trick skateboard, and it just kind of went from there really, and just started to really enjoy myself and having a little bit more freedom to skate around the cities that I lived in. Skateboarding for me is an escape. So it's a thing to do, and it's a place to go in your head where you're not thinking about anything else. And you know, regardless of what troubles you have at work or at home or anything else, when you're skating, that's it. That's all you're worried about, and it's all you can focus on. Because the second you stop focusing on it, I inevitably fall over and hurt myself. Female skateboarding community is made up of so many different people. You know, I have a 4-year-old girl called Autumn on my Instagram who is probably better than most people I know that can skate, and you know, and that goes all the way through to a wonderful woman named Elaine who wanted to learn how to do a shove-it before her birthday while she was battling cancer. So the community is made up of anyone that you can think of, and people that you wouldn't expect, and people that just fell in love with a plank of wood and 4 wheels, which is amazing. So behind me is my 2000 Audi TT225. I got the car this summer. I'd been looking around for a while for something that was fairly iconic, but still simplistic. I didn't want the inside of the car to be overly complicated. I love the driver experience of just you and the car without a big screen and a big kind of load of buttons in front of me. And this car had popped up around a year ago, but at the time I wasn't in a place to buy it, and fortunately for me it was still there when I was in a place to buy it. So grabbed it as soon as I could, and the plans for it, because most of the car is stock, it would be nice to make some minor changes, like put a different steering wheel in there, change the seats, and give it a bit of a lift because it's a bit too low at the moment, but nothing too drastic. So the board lives in the back of my car. It always has, even with cars that I've had before, because I like to be able to just grab it out if I find somewhere really cool to stop. But having things in there and be fairly self-contained in the car is amazing, and to be able to just jump in it and pretty much go anywhere with how low it is, it's just awesome. It's one of the best feelings in the world. In the same way that skateboarding is an escape, driving is an escape as well. Again, it's that sense of freedom, it's that clarity of headspace, it's the endless possibility of where you might end up. You know, you can get in and have no idea where you're going, and you can just make it up as you go along, and having the option to do that is quite incredible, and having something so much fun to do that in as well is an extra bonus. So car care for me was never super important before, because the car that I had was a family hand-me-down. It was dark grey, it concealed dirt really easily, and as long as it got me from A to B, I was pretty stoked with that. But now I've upgraded to a car that I'm actually quite proud of, and I want to look nice. I am beginning to geek out on the detailing. Cleaning is super therapeutic, and you know, it's a process that you can go from start to finish, and you can see how it kind of moves along. So, you know, whether you're washing it or whether you're hoovering the carpets, you've got a before and an after, and it's really satisfying to see it when it's done and step away from it and just go, yes. The TT being 21 years old this year, it's predominantly stock parts on it still as well. So with things like the headlights, you can see the oxidization in them. So to get them as shiny as possible, you've just got to use a really good product specifically for cleaning headlights. One of my favourite features of the car at the moment are my rotiform wheels. So once I've given them a really good clean, I like to finish off with using a tyre dressing. I remember looking at the Mark 1 TTs when they first came out and thinking that they were one of the coolest cars that I'd seen, and to kind of have gone so many years and finally have my own one, that's really exciting for me. And because it's predominantly stock, there's so much you can play around with, and you can change and just find really interesting ways to personalize it. And now I can look forward to making it a little bit more my car, which is really cool. You know, it's a whole new driving experience for me with it being so slammed. So I've sort of had to learn how to read roads all over again. So yeah, it's a fun challenge, but I'm slowly starting to put my own butt groove in the seat.